Rev up your engines!
Oh, Campbell says, Scotty, what are your thoughts on the new 2024 Land Cruiser? Well, Toyota always made good vehicles, right? Those are way, way overpriced if you ask me. There's no way I spend that kind of money on a car for something that's going to be a gas hog. It doesn't matter what they say. I'll give you a perfect example. Last year, they switched the Toyota Tundras to a V6 twin turbo from a V8. So, oh, we get better gas mileage, blah, blah, blah. Guy from Toyota brings me a brand new one. It's got like, I don't know, 20,000 miles on it, right? It was a twin turbo V6. It was also a mild hybrid version, all right? That sucker got 19 miles a gallon on the highway. It made hardly any difference in the gas mileage. So don't believe the ratings that the companies give you when they're trying to sell you a vehicle. Usually they don't even come close to it, especially in a big, heavy vehicle. You know, we test them on a dyno going 40 miles an hour or whatever, right? Take them on the highway, drive them 75 miles an hour, and you'll see what crappy gas mileage they get. Okay, says UAW strike. What do you say, Scotty? All right, well, as per usual, we get the hypocrisy of the car industry, right? The manufacturers tell their investors at their investor meetings, we're making billions of dollars, we're making billions of dollars. Then when the union says, time to start paying us more, oh no, we can't possibly do that. You'll destroy our conversion to electric cars. We're not making any money at all. No, you can't get paid more. You can't get benefits that you used to get that we cut down. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what comes out in the long run. The rich boys at the top who told their investors how much money they're making are now crying, oh, we can't afford to pay you more. So let's see what happens. It should be interesting. And of course, Tesla, Toyota, they're sitting on the sidelines because both of those companies, non-union labor. Since they have non-union labor, it doesn't affect them at all. They don't have UAW workers. Gasper Del Barra said, did Japan improve the piston rings on a 2.42 ZEF Scion XB 2012 made in Japan? Yes, they did. They didn't really have any problems. The ones that burnt oil were generally 2007, 2009, 2012. They've redesigned stuff and they really don't have any problem. I mean, if you bought a used one, it could burn oil if the owner didn't change it. Even a Toyota. I had a guy with a Toyota Previa van, right? And he brought it to me when it had 110,000 miles, burning oil. It was leaking oil all over the place, too. I said, how often do you change the oil? He said, I've never changed the oil. I said, what do you mean you never changed the oil? He said, well, I'm a sales rep for the Southwestern United States, and I put a couple thousand miles a week on the car. He says, I'm not going to change the oil. I said, well, doesn't it burn oil? He said, you know, the first 70,000 miles, it didn't burn a drop. Now I got to put a quart in every so. He had 110,000 miles, and he'd never changed the oil. He wasn't lying. You can wear anything out if you abuse it. Yeah. Babyface says, why do you think so many mechanic shops rip people off? Well, greed, of course. You know, the problem today is overhead. Right? You go to a car dealership. Most of them have $2 to $5 million a year overhead, meaning they got to pull in $2 to $5 million to break even, and they want to make money, so they're going to rip you off. Unfortunately, that's what happens. It's because they know the customer knows nothing about cars, and they can take advantage of them. Sad but true. You know, that's how a lot of places work, right? They have knowledge that you don't have, so they're going to just say, ah, he doesn't know anything about cars. We'll tell him we put an engine in when all we did was spray clean the outside of it and put a couple of sensors on it or something. I've seen that happen numerous times. So it's unfortunate. People are greedy. People have a lack of knowledge. That's why I make these videos, right? If you have a lack of knowledge, watch my videos. Maybe if you're never even going to work on your own car, but you can have knowledge. Knowledge is power. They can't rip you off if you have a certain amount of knowledge, right? Especially if you learn how to use a little, like $50 to $80 scan tool. A lot of information. You can plug it in your car and then see what's before. And then if they work on your car, see what's after, see if it's fixed. And the before, you can look up online, watch my videos, get a pretty good idea what's probably wrong with your vehicle. And no, they can't pull the wool out from under you that easily if you've got that kind of knowledge. Vampy Workout says, I have a 350Z. My top won't go all the way down. What could be issues? How should I troubleshoot it? You say it goes, but not all the way down. Usually it means something is bent. What you might do is look with a flashlight, see if you see any bent parts. Maybe a rivet that popped out and has to be put back in. A lot of times they will bend, and you want to pray it's something simple like that. I like the Mazda Miatas myself. They're still manual. You grab them, pull them back, you grab them, put them back on. Nothing beats that. I don't care. You can take all the electronic crap and throw it down the toilet. Nothing like a hand top. Down it goes, up it goes. Right? Don Mills 89 says, should I buy 2023 4Runner or wait on a 6th generation? Okay, I'd buy this year's. You never know. Toyota generally makes great cars. You never know. What if they screw up that year? I am a firm believer in not being the first one to buy new technology because the new technology might screw up. And plus, I'm cheap as hell too, so I'm not going to pay 45 grand for a car. Yeah, I'll wait 10, 15 years, get it for 5 grand, 7 grand. Maybe it's still got 70% of its lifespan, and I'll pay 20% of the price. That's a deal. When you buy a new car, you're paying 100% of the price, so you're always going to be paying too much. That's all I think. And new stuff, I'm not a fan. You never know. What if they screw up? Doozy says, what do you think about Mitsubishi Galant overall? They can be okay cars. And that's what I mean. Okay. Not terrible piles of junk. Not great cars either. Mitsubishi doesn't make all that many cars. And they have a history of automatic transmission problems. And now the deal is going that Mitsubishi is tied in with Nissan. They've had all kinds of problems and arguments. I'm not a big fan. That says, if you found a used Mitsubishi Galant that ran good, didn't burn much oil, shifted okay, and you could get it cheap, it could be a good knockaround car. Zap Bannigan says, should we avoid the Mazda CX-90 because it's the first inline 6? Normally I'd say, yeah, and I'm not going to buy one because I'm too cheap and they cost too much money, right? But a guy brought me one. I was impressed. Horsepower up the wazoo, smoothness. I really like the car. Now, I'd never pay what they're asking for them. To me, hey, I'd buy half a house for that or something out in the country. I'm not going to pay that kind of money for a car. But I got to say, they did it right. And the thing about inline 6s are they're inherently smooth vehicles, and there have been very few inline 6 engines made by any companies that were dismal failures. They all seem to run. The Chrysler Slant 6 could run forever. The Ford Straight 6, I had a Maverick, could last forever. The BMW Straight 6s are great engines. The rest of the cars are over-complex electronic nonsense, but the engines are still really good. So there'd be one exception to my normal rule of not buying something that's new. DeAndre Davis says, cruisers or sport bikes? Well, I always liked fast motorcycles. Like I said, the first bike I had was a BSA 650 Lightning, which was the fastest production bike in the world at the time, right? I've always liked fast motorcycles. Now, sport bikes is another thing entirely. Is that BSA had all of like 50-something horsepower, right? Today, these babies are pushing 200 horsepower and higher. If you ever watch the Isle of Man races that they have in England and Ireland, right? They all have speed control systems, anti-skid traction control, because even those guys at the height of their 20s, super coordination, they can't control that kind of power. It's got to have computer help to make them go. So the sport bikes today, really, most humans can't control them. And a lot of guys get killed because they're driving something that's way too fast. Dave says, Scotty, did you ever drag race back in the day? Well, yeah, kind of a funny story there. Okay, I didn't drag race cars because my cars were too freaking slow. The first motorcycle I had was a 1967 BSA 650 Lightning with twin carbs. Hunter Thompson also owned one, and it was the fastest production motorcycle in the world at the time. I never lost a drag race in that motorcycle. It was one fast little motorcycle. Now, it had no top end. It couldn't go more than about 110 miles an hour. But man, it would get there fast. So I did with motorcycles, but not with cars. My cars were much too slow. I can't believe it, but it's true. HISD, Houston Independent School District, is eliminating their libraries, and they're replacing them with what they call disciplinary centers at their NES schools. New education system. Yeah, it's new, all right. Put the kids in jail, right? Not only are they firing the librarians, that's one of their jobs, right? They're turning an area that used to be where the smart kids hang out and read books and studied and became smart, using that same room, throwing the books out, and throwing in the bad boys and girls who are disciplinary problems. Talk about a 180, a complete turnaround, right? Well, we're not going to have libraries anymore. What the heck? Nobody reads. Let's replace them with disciplinary sections. What are they going to eventually turn them into small prisons for the bad children or something? So much for the new education system. It doesn't bode well for our society. No more books in library for you kids. You got a disciplinary center instead. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, it's unbelievable. I guess they have a new superintendent there. Nobody really wanted the job because it's always a hassle in Houston, right? It doesn't pay all that much, and the guys have to take all the crap from all the different warring factions in Houston, right? I find it hilarious. No more books in libraries. Hey, we'll have disciplinary sections instead. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.